Yo, what is up? So, before I start this gearing guide slash, I guess, well, I'm going to do a deception rotation and then I'll show a hatred rotation after. Before I do that, I just want to show you all how good deception is right now. So, yeah, with the death knell set bonus and recklessness, this is the wrong part, but okay. You're just gonna see how fast this guy gets burst down. He's in 291 gear, so his health is lower, but yeah, so 22, it's like 34, and he's hard stunned, and triple maul, and that's death. Now on like a, I don't know, 290k health, 300k health target, it's still fine. All I would do instead is, so I'd spike, I would discharge, not ball lightning, just because that's better. Then I'd stun, and maul. Now if they live this one, Reaping Strike is gonna do, well, it does a lot. It does like 60k or so. So basically you have a spike for 20, discharge for 30, 3 mauls for at least 150, and then a reaping for at least 50. By that point you have another ball lightning ready to go, and like they're certain to die at that point. No one's gonna eat that, so yeah, this is one clip and I'm gonna show another. Here's another fun clip. So there's 70k into a 70k maul. This Sork is coming down. I'm gonna try to global him. 60k, 56. Look at how fast his health drops. So he's at 100%. And it's all gone. He has to bubble. It's like 5 GCDs, not even. I run back because I changed my mind. I thought I might as well. Decide to stun him with that. And then I do the opener. Maul. And he's dead. So this is kind of deception in a nutshell. It's a pretty good spec. Here I probably show off AoE discharge if I can. Oh, I guess someone's here. Yeah. Let's see what DPS was. And as you can see, you can do over 10k easy. As you saw in this game, I wasn't even going for crazy DPS. I did the solo kill, I was kind of fucking around. It's over 10k. Yeah, 70k hit, 6 mil damage. I've done 14k with this spec. It's a single target, so it's pretty good. What is poppin'? Here's a gear guide for both DPS assassin specs in 6.0. Yeah, so first thing, once you hit 306, which only takes like a day, you just run master mode, hammer station. Shit is real easy. You can solo veteran mode, especially if you're stealth. You can go through it so fast, probably faster than if you were doing like group finder master mode. And yeah, it's pretty easy to get to item rating 306. And once you do, you want to use your tech fragments, these things, to get the death knell set. So where the bulk of your DPS, whether you're deception or hatred though, I've heard some people say that the murderous revelation set is good as hatred, or better, but objectively it's not. I tested both, and based on DPS sources and like optimal cleave, death knell is still better. It's like 7.3% DPS increase overall. Plus it lets you run the optimal attack item, which is this one, that lets you force extra creeping terror ticks when you do white damage. Whereas the Murderous Revelation requires 2 cloaks and tack swapping and a whole funky playstyle, so Death Knell set is the way to go. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward for the stats. I choose 0 accuracy, which is kind of weird for deception, but I don't know. I don't really notice a lot of parries unless I'm like every now and then you'll miss on a Sork, but it doesn't consume your procs, so it's whatever. The only annoying thing is when you miss Reaping. That's kind of annoying with 0 accuracy, but if you want accuracy, you should just do the accuracy stim. But I don't have one on me. So yeah, 0 accuracy, alacrity. The threshold for the 1.4 GCD is 1213, so I have 1295, which is pretty close. All you need for it is like 2 enhancements and an earpiece or a implant or whatever. I'm just doing the earpiece and then 2 enhancements, and I'm at the 1.4 GCD threshold. This is useful. This is optimal with both hatred and deception. So there you go. And then for the amplifiers, you ideally would want this one here, the 1.25 weapon expertise, but it's really hard to get. Like, the RNG for this is kind of wild. If you're playing hatred, you want the 2.2% periodic intensity amps, which I have all of. I got those. I spent like probably 600 million to get all of them immediately, so yeah, that was a pain. The weapon expertise one is also annoying. If you have bad luck with it, you should just go for Alpha Strike is fine. Yeah, Alpha Strike is fine, and then so is Armor Penetration. I don't think I have any Armor Pen ones at the moment, but Weapon Expertise is the most optimal. And then for your 7th piece, because of course the Death Knell set you only need 6, so for your extra one you'd want Amplified Champion something, and then you get a free amp. In this case I'm using the periodic intensity one because, well, I main hatred. I don't really play deception that much, but it's still fun. So if you're playing deception, you would want this to be weapon expertise. If you are playing hatred, you would want periodic intensity. The AoE one is fine, and so is the force one is hatred, but ideally you would want the periodic intensity because something like 49% of your damage comes from creeping terror and discharge, so yeah, under ideal conditions. So that's pretty much it for the gearing itself. About tack items, you always want Life Warden, and you probably always want 2 cloaks, but I don't actually have it on me. I just don't really use it. It's good for S ranked. I don't know about G ranked, but yeah. As deception, the 2 main ones are this may cause injury, which pretty much gives you AoE discharge. It's pretty crazy what you get out of this. I'll throw screenshots up, but it lets you basically get chain lightning, and if you hit enough targets, you can get like 200,000 damage out of 1 GCD with just a huge discharge AoE, which makes deception actually good in cleave, and gives you another option besides just lacerate spamming, so that's useful. The single target one is Blade of the Elements, which gives you an auto crit on Reaping Strike. yeah, it also decreases the cooldown when you crit with Voltaic Slash, which is very useful. So yeah, I would recommend if you want to just single target, do Blade of the Elements if you want the highest DPS. May cause injury is where it's at. So as for Deception, these are the utilities that I use for actually both, but these are reg utilities. I'll go over S-ranked and G-ranked utilities after, but you always want avoidance, you always want this thing, you always want, at least in regs, you always want this. Fade is useful. This gives you 6 seconds of CC immunity on deflection, so every 2 minutes you get 6 seconds of immunity to stuns, which is really useful for jumping into a crowd and getting off a free, like either AoE discharge, or if you're playing Hatred you get Death Field and you get the spread before that runs out. Immersion, this is necessary all the time, no matter what, even if you're tanking, always want immersion. And Audacity is also necessary, especially with the Death Knell set, because well, you'll see, but the Death Knell set works by consuming Recklessness, and you get 3 stacks, so you need the 3 stacks of Recklessness. And then Reaper's Rush, because I'm a DPS whore. And then Phasing Phantasm for mobility, also for the, well, you get DR, but now it's only 25% and not 60, which is kind of lame. In 4s, so S ranked slash G ranked, you would want this, and the 5% damage boost to stun targets. You would want Audacity, you would want Immersion, and you would want Haunted Dreams, and then in this you would want Phasing Phantasm, Disjunction, and you would want Shroud of Madness. Also, alternative to this thing, you would take this, especially if you're going up against pressure comps, you would definitely want this. And there you go. So about the Deception rotation, oh, you're gonna see some crazy stuff, but Deception at the moment is by far the best spec in the game, in my opinion, and the reason for that is you get to spam a 60k auto crit, and I'll show you what that means. So the rotation is going to be, you want to use Recklessness, you want to consume the 3 charges of it, and then you'll build 3 stacks of Reckless Slaughter. Oh, you'll build 3 stacks of Reckless Crit and Reckless Slaughter, so what that does is it gives you a 30% melee damage increase for 30 seconds, and it gives you it gives you an auto crit on Maul, and that auto crit rolls into your crit multiplier. So yeah, it's pretty wild. I'll show you what I mean. First on the light armor target, because why not? So here's an example. So yeah, there's a rotation. The opener is the craziest part by far, because well, you get 3 auto crit mauls all in a row. So 85, 74, 73, and then Reaping Strike for 60. So yeah, it's pretty good. Another thing too that's really cool in PvP, you can so when you stealth out, it's gonna drop the cooldown of Recklessness by like a minute. So it'll basically reset it after your opener. So if you were to spike, like here, if you spike, discharge, you stun the person, does its PvP, you maul, all while they're in the stun, hit them with this, they're still alive, that's weird, and then you can run away, you would stealth out, so just pretend I do that, and then you see when combat drops, the cooldown comes back, so now you're in stealth, pop this, and then you go right back into it, and you get all these auto crit mauls again, all back to back. The best thing to do is to stagger it, so you would want when the reckless slaughter drops after 30 seconds, which is this buff right here, you would that's when you would refresh by stealthing out and then using recklessness and doing it again. So now we'll do just the opener against the 75 target. So yeah, there you go. It's pretty good. It's pretty good spec at the moment. Yeah, that those 60k mauls, because I've been posting videos where I've been hitting, like, I hard global someone for like 7 GCDs or something, and people are like, how do you do that? How does maul hit for like 65k, 80k? And it's just from the set bonus, from the death knell set bonus. So one more time. And then I'll do an actual rotation with it. Might as well. Oh, that was weird. Phantom GCD, but yeah, as you can see, I can just spam maul. Okay, so there's deception, but also, what about hatred? So hatred's pretty crazy as well. This in 6.0, as you can see, here's 18.5k DPS arena. You can do pretty crazy numbers. There's a 17.3k DPS game on over 10 million damage. Here's a 15.3k DPS on 11 million with 12 deaths. That's kind of the crazy part, is even dying 12 times, you can still do crazy numbers. And as you see, I did disconnect for like 20 seconds in the middle, and it really messed up everything. So there you go. And that 46k assassinate, that was a true assassinate. It's not a bug. That comes from death knell being really good. And so many more games. I mean, there's 15k, and there are a lot of screens that are really high, and its hatred's just really good for number farming. Its cleave is crazy, and even deception with AoE discharge. Here you can see almost a 200k discharge, and just that's one GCD, and it's almost like 180k. And then here 13.4k DPS with a single target spec. That's pretty good. On top of that, even through like a ton of deaths,
as you can see here, I took 8.4 million damage, died 15 times, I still top. And I think the DPS for this is like 12k or something, which is not terribly impressive, but I mean, it's not impressive. Like 20k is good, but yeah, it's not bad for that. So, yeah.
Okay, so here's a little hatred thing. So, one thing to note is the death knell set. It's not just good for maul spam, it also makes assassinate auto crit and super crit, so yeah, watch for that. Also the periodic amps that you use for hatred will make the dots tick pretty hard, so here I'm gonna open. Kinda scared I don't wanna get hit too hard at the beginning, so I kind of wait for our sniper to kind of pull aggro, I guess. I open with the AoE death field. There I already built 3 stacks of Reckless Slaughter and Reckless Critical. And then I dot, so Creeping Terror and then Discharge. And the reason that you Creeping Terror first is because in the single target rotation what you would do is you would Creeping Terror and then you would Assassinate, and then you would like Eradicate, Discharge, Bleaching Strike, Thrash, whatever. And the reason for that is because the Assassin Tack item gives you, it forces Creeping Terror ticks when you do damage with Assassinate, and then you have a 50% chance to get it when you do white damage. So here, just threw a Pyro Grenade. That's always something that should be used as hatred. It's like a free 50k GCD. Now I'm lacerating because you definitely want to get dots on everyone, and their dots run out. I put them back up immediately. I eradicate. You want to tab around and eradicate so that everyone gets the debuff from it. Death field on cooldown. Can't teleport back up, so I just go to the Mara. Here I tab and I dot. This is a pretty basic rotation. There I spread, get the dots on that person too. Eradicate. Here we go. It's pretty easy. Didn't end up getting the spread on this, maybe I did, I don't know, I saw a parry on a lacerate, it made me sad. Gonna spread to the Sork. Sork's dotted now. Should probably just vanish Spike right away. There's a 30k auto crit. Oh, there's a Sork. So here, Creeping Terror, Assassinate, but he dodges it because I don't run accuracy. There's the Spike. There's a free 28k. And there you go. 13k DPS. Hatred's really good too.